Hey folks, good news. I am back with another full-length episode of Quizzing in America. This is Jeremy Kahneman. I'm coming to you from Chicago, Illinois. And here we are in the middle of July, and we have a true ray of sunshine with us. We have Miss Shreya from Virginia. She runs a little outfit called Sunshine Trivia. And I've never gotten to play Shreya's trivia, but I was in Arlington, Virginia a couple months ago when I interviewed Dave Madden for an episode of Quizzing in America. And I walked by a venue where she had trivia, except I was leaving town the day that her trivia was running. But I reached out and she was kind enough to agree to come on. So thank you, Shreya, for being here. And I look forward to getting to know you and getting to know a little bit about Sunshine Trivia. You want to say hello and, we'll get started.
First of all, thank you so much for reaching out. It's honestly such a pleasure to meet people, and honestly that's the main reason why I even bother having a website and Instagram, and I try to do all these random things to try to connect with people, and I'm so glad that we were able to connect. I still also remember when we first talked, you were telling me about how you were in town for trivia conventions I didn't even know existed. So it's been really, really cool to just get in touch with you. My name is Shreya. I host Shreya Sunshine Trivia because my name is Shreya and I'm a ray of sunshine. That's my little brand that I created for myself. I do have an Instagram that's Shreya Sunshine Trivia. I am learning as I go in terms of how to market and how to post, and I feel like social media is such a different beast, but trivia has always been something that I've been really, really passionate about, and I know you're going to ask me more questions about it. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll end my intro there, but I feel like the trivia part is the easiest part when it comes to hosting, and I'm so excited for that.
So how long have you been hosting? That's my first question.
Yeah, so I think I've been hosting. I was looking back. I think I've been hosting a bit over 2 years now, which is weird to think that it's been a long time, but it also hasn't been that long. I think I started in either April or June. I want to say April. Yeah, end of April in 2023, I believe, is when I first started hosting trivia in a place called Assembly, which was actually in Rosslyn, Virginia. It was formerly called Assembly. Now it's been renamed to a place called Upside on Moore. While I was actually hosting there, it changed over management, which is also part of the reason why I ended up leaving there. But a lot of people that were in the management formerly moved to the new space that I now am hosting at because they remembered me, they liked me so much, they brought me over, and so that's where I've been. I've been debating back and forth if I want to expand operations, but for now, I'm sticking with the one.
Just the one show a week. But do you do I mean, I'm sure you have regulars that like what you do. If they wanted to hire you to do like a private event or a corporate
Mhm.
thing, I'm sure you would do that as well. Have you done any of those yet?
I
Or
haven't done I've done, I think, one corporate gig, but it actually was me creating the trivia and then I kind of passed it back to them and they were
okay.
implementing it. And then I've also been doing volunteering with another corps. Actually, let me see if I can pull up the name of that organization that I posted with. But one of the people who actually was working at the first place that I was hosting and left when that change of management happened, he started working for a new company as their events planner. And so they actually started hosting trivia nights over at a nearby homeless shelter. And so I've been hosting trivia for them, I think
Wow.
4 times. Yeah. Uh,
That's interesting. I don't know that I was aware of any homeless shelters that run. It's kind of fun. It gives
yeah.
people some entertainment and who are probably obviously a little down on their luck, and
Yeah.
maybe you can be that ray of sunshine for them. So
I mean, they seem to love it. They've asked me back multiple times, and I've also I think the first time or first 2 times they were actually kind of tepid. They were a little nervous about, I feel like a lot of folks when they hear trivia, they assume it's a bit more of an elitist thing. It's a
yeah,
bit more of a, oh, this is just for people who know things. But I feel like there's all kinds of knowledge and all kinds of things that people know. And the thing I love most about trivia is being able to, especially when I'm able to kind of cater my trivia to the audience so that they can feel like their knowledge is honored or that they feel.
I love that. And we had a little pre-recording chat where you were asking me what I was into, and hopefully when we get a quiz, maybe you'll have some questions that are catered to my interest if you have them in your database. But even if not, I look forward to getting some questions. So obviously this is just like a side hustle or labor of love for you.
Mhm.
So you've got a full-time regular job. But
Yep.
when you first started hosting at what was the then the Assembly, how did that come about? Were you just a regular there and they had a trivia night, or they wanted to start one and they were like, "Hey, Shreya, you know a lot of stuff." Like what was the impetus to get you to host that first night?
I mean, that was almost exactly what happened. So I remember I used to be a regular there because I lived in a very, very small studio apartment nearby. And whenever I would quote unquote work from home, my home just didn't feel like a place I could work. And so I started being a regular at this place called Assembly. The thing I love the most about it is that, I could sit there all day and they wouldn't really bother me. I mean, just out of the goodness of my heart, which sounds really bad, but like because I felt, responsible, I would, spend money and buy things, but they never really bothered me about it. Like if I didn't do that, I don't think they would have said anything, which was really cool because I, also side note, love like spaces where people are allowed to just like exist and be there. But yeah, so I would work from there frequently, and there was one other guy I would always see working. That was, every single time either of us would go to the bathroom, we started, being like, "Oh, can you watch my stuff?" Like we just started to know each other on site, and then finally one day we decided to introduce ourselves. Turns out he's the events manager there, so he's like,
Okay.
and as he introduced himself, he said, "Oh, I'm the events manager here," and I still remember like kind of saying it casually, but also kind of seriously saying, "Well, if you're looking for a girl to host trivia, I'm your girl." And he took me seriously, and then we started planning, a couple.
Wow. So you threw it out there. Had you ever hosted trivia before? Or you just had you, I mean, you obviously, I would assume, had played pub trivia before, right?
Yeah. So the way I kind of got my trivia start, I was a first year teacher in Los Angeles and honestly was having like probably the roughest times of my life. And I would frequently go to the Teach for America office because I, taught through Teach for America. And it was on my way home and it would actually change what would be a solid 30-minute like drive from that point back home into a 5-minute drive if I stayed there long enough, just because LA traffic is that bad. So
Yeah.
I would stop in the LA TFA office. I became friends with some of the people that were there. And one of them I remember being like, "Oh, yeah, like I'm going to trivia. Want to join?" And so I was like, "Oh, absolutely." And that became our weekly trivia gig. And it was at a spot called I want to say Angel City Brewery in downtown LA. And we went there every single week, and that's literally how I was able to survive my first year teaching. I don't think I could have gotten through that without that. And then, going into the next year, once again, I started trying to, but I had master's classes that were like getting in the way, and then COVID hit. And so then we didn't have any sort of outlet. And I don't know what gave me the idea to, but then my friend was supposed to be celebrating her birthday within the first couple months of COVID. And again, we couldn't go out, we couldn't do anything. So I was like, you know what? I'll host a like you themed trivia for your birthday. And that's what I did. I hosted it over Zoom. That was the first time I hosted. And I just got really excited because I feel like one thing that happens if you go to enough trivia, you start just like making it up in your brain.
That is absolutely true, and especially, and I think that that's great. So you did Teach for America. What is your day job now? Are you still a teacher, or?
No, I made the tough decision to leave teaching, but the main reason I went into teaching is because I want to do more policy. And I fundamentally believe that anyone who runs policy has to know what it's like on the ground. So
Sure.
before I went into policy, I decided to be a teacher, but I started getting to a point where I was itching to move on to the next thing. And so I now am in the DC area, although I don't actually need to be. My job is fully virtual now. I work for the College Board. They do APs, SATs, but they do a lot more than that. They also have a lot of initiatives that they're working on to try to support students like K through 12 and helping students get to and through college, and like they're really trying to do a lot more to support students, which is my passion and what I really want to do. And so I'm a strategist with them, so I'm like helping them come up with these initiatives or decide on, okay, if we are pursuing this.
Yeah, so you're still in the education field, really, very,
Absolutely.
very
Yeah,
closely connected.
yeah,
And, I think that if you're a teacher, you have to be creative. And when you're writing trivia, I think you have to be creative. And I think it seems like obviously you care about connecting with the people that are playing your trivia,
yeah.
which is great. I hope you do decide to expand, because I think it would be great to get people like you who seem to really care about the folks that are out there playing, and you want them to have a good time. You want it to be relatable, and like you said, everybody's got a knowledge base. People are always like, "Oh, I can't play trivia. I don't know enough." And if depends. Everybody knows some things, and you can ask questions in ways that people, can relate. Now, so you'd never hosted trivia before. How did you decide what form? Like, what is? I don't know. What is your format like? Do you do question, then play a song, and have people submit an answer with like a wager, or do you do like a round of 5 or 10 questions where everything has the same value? Or is it
Mhm.
something kind of in between? Like, how did you decide what your format was going to be, and what is your format?
Yeah, so I do have to give major shout outs to King Trivia. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I am familiar. I've played King Trivia. I'm
Yeah,
assuming that might have been the trivia you played in LA then, because I know they're big in California.
yeah, they're huge in Los Angeles in particular. And so that was my main inspiration. I loved their format. I loved the different approaches to the different types of rounds. So a lot of my trivia is sort of following their format, although I think I've put my own spin on how I implement it. But I mean, to anyone who knows King Trivia, what I'm about to say is going to sound real familiar. So the first round is so every single round is you are answering 10 different questions or having 10 different answers and for the most part, and you are submitting all your answers at once. I don't like doing the one question at a time. I think that that can take a lot of time to get through, and I just prefer not to. I haven't yet implemented some system of like doubling or something like that. I have been thinking about it, but I want to. I mean, for me, it's all about equity, and I want to make sure it feels equitable when I do that. So
Sure.
put a pin on that one. But then I also have a system of I have 7 different rounds. Round one is just general knowledge, just whatever random things. I do have to put in there that I used to specifically be a math teacher, so I'm a huge fan of math coming back to bite you in the butt. So unlike equipment two, I have at least one math round or one math question every single time.
Okay.
So you gotta, when a kid asks you, when am I gonna use this? Monday Night Trivia, that's when. So
There you go.
you know, make sure that
I
you
was that kid, by the way, that said, "Why do I need to know this? When am I ever going to use this?"
yeah.
So,
I can
and
do
math is one of my worst categories, just for the record.
yeah,
But
I
I can do simple math really quick in my head, but when it comes to like complicated math, and not even necessarily complicated, but math terminology is one of my worst subjects. So
that was a big thing that I always focused on as a teacher is math is a language. It really is. And
it really is.
I
Yeah.
don't know if for the longest time, I don't know if math teachers really thought about it that way. I think now there's like a changing shift, but we'll come back to that. So yeah, I always have at least one math question in that round. And then I have my second round is audio round. I usually play snippets of songs, but I always try to do different takes. So sometimes I'll like come up with I usually do some sort of theme or something for the whole round. I have done themes as simple as these are all rock songs or these are all songs about superstition. But sometimes I do like medieval covers of songs or I'll do 8-bit covers.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, I've had those 8-bit rounds before, and they kill me because I don't hear well, and so it's like I always can recognize the song, and then I have no idea what I'm listening to. So it can be rough. So you got the general round, the audio round. You have 5 more rounds. What are those? Do they rotate themes, or do you have any like we always have an entertainment round, always have a sports round, always have a.
No, so my round three is just generally called a theme round. So I can do themes that are like before and after, similar to that
Okay.
round. I've also done things like I had a round where I gave the like colloquialisms of British English, and then you had to like say what you thought they meant.
Okay.
I've done also just like general themes. So I actually had another one which is like who tweeted it, Kanye or Elon. I had
Yeah.
yeah, those are honestly,
So they were all crazy unhinged tweets. It was just a matter of did you know which guy? Yeah.
yeah. I also
So
had is it antidepressant or a Tolkien character? I've had medical terms, but sometimes I'll also just do like just general questions, but they all seem to have at least one word related to the theme in some way. So those are a little bit further away. But yeah, so those that was my round three. Round four is a picture round. So that's always, pictures again. I usually try to keep them to some sort of theme. Round five is the find the connection round. And this is one of my favorite rounds that
the,
I borrowed from King Trivia.
those are, and I mean, you don't really borrow it because
Yeah.
it's funny. I do my trivia always has a find the connection round too, and that's what the quizzing in America, the quick quizzes are all find the connection rounds because those are some of my favorite rounds. And I remember distinctly when I first started doing trivia, and this is 20 some years ago.
Mhm.
or almost 20 years ago. I didn't have that when I first started doing it. And then I went in and I saw a guy do trivia, and he did a round where all of the answers happened to be wrestlers' names.
Mm.
And, I remember the guy's name is Ryan Mahoney. He's a friend of mine. And I'm like, oh, that's really clever. I like that. I said, I'm going to use that. You mind if I steal it? And he's like, the whole round. I said, just the idea. And he's like, no, it's not even my idea. I took it from somebody else. So you didn't take it from King Trivia. Like it's been out there. We all do it, and it's but they're fun rounds
Yeah.
because it allows you, if you can pick up on the connection, and
Mhm.
then there's a question you're like, I don't have any idea what the answer is, but you know what the connection is. Now you can go back and go, well, I don't know what the answer is, but it has to have a dog breed in it or a color
Yeah.
in it or whatever. And you're
Yeah.
like, so it limits what you can get, and you can figure out the answers to questions that you otherwise would have had no chance to get. So I love hidden connection rounds. I think they're some of the best types of trivia out there, especially for like a bar trivia when you're playing with a team and people and you can discuss. But it's funny, one of my regular players, she went out and played Ryan's trivia after
Mm.
years of playing my trivia. She stumbled upon a venue where Ryan was still hosting, and she saw him do his hidden connections round, and she
Mhm.
like immediately messaged me and is like, this guy stole your idea. And I was like, ooh, I wonder who it is. And so then I went to the trivia night she was talking about, and I walked in and I saw Ryan, and I was like, oh. And I messaged her and I'm like, he didn't steal my idea. I
Yeah.
stole his idea.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always like the beautiful thing about all of this is that we can all kind of borrow and share and give each other ideas that maybe we never really had before. And I think that
Absolutely.
as long as we're all still taking it, making it our own, I really
Yeah,
don't think that there should be any type of problem with that.
not at all.
Yeah. But yeah, so then that's my round 5, and those are the first 5 are really all very similar in terms of you're answering 10 questions, turning it in, pretty simple. Round 6 and 7 is where it gets a little weird. Round 6 is like 5 clues, 1 answer. So I go through, clues, or I will give essentially 5 different clues, but however many clues it takes for someone to respond is how many points they get. So if they only require 1 clue before they submit and they get it right, they can get all 10 points. If they need 2 clues, that's 8 points. 3 clues, 4 clues, 4. 5 clues, 2 points. If you get it wrong, you get no points.
And you only get to submit once, right?
You get to submit 1 time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's obviously in your best interest to try to submit and wait until the end if you don't feel confident.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's round 6, my one answer. So that one's a little bit different. And then round 7 is 1 question, 10 answers. So I'll ask one big question, then yours
Okay.
coming up with 10 different answers that kind of somehow fit within that
Sure.
category.
I love a good list round as well. That's another thing that I like to do in my trivia quite often. And do you have any sort of final wager, or is it just at the end of that round, that's the whatever the total score is, that's the winner?
Nope, at the end of that round, that's the winner. Although I have been thinking lately about trying to put in some sort of wager question or something, but my trivia takes up about the 2 hours, so I'm like, I don't know more to it.
The only I would say the only thing that I like about a final wager is, without that, it really allows the cream to rise. Like if you're a really good trivia team, you're going to consistently just win or be at the top, right? If there's a final wager question, it can add a lot of variance to it,
Yeah,
where if it's a subject where those good teams just don't have an area of expertise, they're going to fall and somebody behind them is going to jump up and win
yeah,
unexpectedly, right? So it allows a team that may be like riding the middle of the pack most of the night to at the end be like, oh my God, there's a Pokemon wager question at the end, and I love Pokemon. And here I am, like with this trivia guru team, and none of us play Pokemon. And it's like, well, great. We just lost it all because,
yeah. No,
but
I
at the
love
same time,
wager questions, and I love that they can actually like bring more balance to that score sheet. I just haven't yet figured out how exactly I want to implement it because it does
yeah,
restructuring that question. So that's kind of where I'm at of like, all right, we'll see. We'll see how
there are a lot of different ways to do it, and so it's in some people. There's one company here in Chicago. They give you two wager questions. You can wager 0 to 12 on each one, and you
Mhm.
can whatever you get. And then there's another company in Chicago that does two final questions. You wager 0 to 15, but your wager counts for both questions, and you can only make one wager for both questions. So if you get one right and one wrong, no matter what, you always zero out, which I don't really understand the philosophy behind that. But there's a lot of different ways to do a final wager question. Mine, I would always do a final wager question where there were three answers, ideally one of which was fairly obvious, one of
Mhm.
which was fairly obscure, and one of which somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And you got to wager up to 10 points. But if you got all three, I gave you double your wager. If you
Mhm.
got just two, you got your wager. And if you didn't get at least two, you lost your wager. So,
Yeah.
so there was some variance, but you didn't have to know all the answers. You could get points for just knowing two of the three answers, and I don't know. I like that because it added variance, but it still allowed you to not have to know everything about the question to get some points added to your score.
I do like I also am partially into those rounds where they give you like the categories ahead of time and then you
Oh
wait
yeah.
round. I also liked there was I think Geeks Who Drink did this, but I don't honestly remember if I don't know if they still do, and I don't remember if this is 100% right, but they used to have a system of there are like three different rounds that you're allowed to double on, or you like do the juggler's hat or whatever, and if you're wrong, then you get no points for that round.
Well, so I think you're conflating King Trivia with Geeks Who Drink. So they both have so if I recall correctly, Geeks Who Drink, and this one I know for sure, Geeks Who Drink has what they call the Joker round.
Yeah.
You can Joker any round in a Geeks Who Drink quiz,
Mm,
but there are three rounds in the quiz that are worth twice as many points as all the other rounds. So
uh,
you never, if you want to win, you will never joker around unless it's one of, like, they have an audio round where you get a point for the song, point for the artist. That's double points. They
mhm,
have the final round, which always have just twice the amount of points available to it. And then there's always one other round of, I think, the eight, it's either 7 or 8 rounds. I think they do 8 rounds. One of the other rounds is also worth double points. So if you don't double one of those rounds, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're
mm,
using your joker on a round that's only worth half the points, which is one of the things I actually don't like about Geeks Who Drink. It's probably the biggest thing I don't like is I think if you're going to allow people to joker, then you shouldn't have double point round. Like you shouldn't allow them to joker the rounds that are worth double points because then that one round is 4 points the value
yeah.
of the other rounds. Now with King Trivia, they're the ones, and that's you said you don't have where you could, I don't know if they call it a joker, but you have a double. And I
Mm,
believe for King Trivia, you could double any or every round of the game. But
yeah.
the caveat was if you don't get every question right and you double,
Draw
you
your
get
point.
0 points.
Yeah.
And so if you have a 10 question round where you have 9 answers that you have right and one you're unsure of, and you're like, oh man, if we have that right, we could get 20 points in this round. But if we double and we miss that one question, we get 0 instead of 9. I mean, like, and it's really, really an interesting format that King Trivia has. And I kind of love it and hate it at the same time because
Yeah.
it really makes you like
Double check.
on whether to double every round.
Yeah.
And I've played a couple other formats where they've kind of got that where you can double any round, but if you get anything wrong, you get a 0.
Mm,
And that can throw such wild variance into the game. And because listen, I might know 9 of 10 questions, and then
mhm,
on that last one go, oh man,
yeah.
I don't know. And like, should I double? So yeah, so I used to, when I first started doing trivia, I used to also have you could double any one round of the game, but I always tried to make every round equal value. And
Mhm,
then at some point I just decided, you know what? I like my rounds to sometimes have bonus points, whatever, and I'm just going to get rid of the doubling and, keep it at every question is basically a consistent value. So I do similar to you. I do rounds. I do 7 questions around, and every question is worth 3 points, or every correct answer is worth 3 points. Now, if I have a question where there's 2 answers, I give you 3 points per answer. So usually around is 21 points. Sometimes it's 24, 27,
yeah.
but every round is pretty much consistently of equal weight and value.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I do. I every once in a while for the audio round, I'll because usually I'm like only the artist or only the song title, but sometimes I'll do both and I'll give either double points or I'll do half points. Like
yeah,
it depends on how much I think people are likely to know it. I feel like if it's supposed to be very obvious or something, like I've done like a Disney song round, hopefully I don't get canceled by Disney for this.
nah,
I've done like a Disney song round where it's like I played the song and you had to name the Disney villain, but I did consider, okay, you have to name the name of the song as well as the Disney villain. And for that, I could have done half point for each part,
sure.
or I would do, full point for the
I
whole.
like naming the villain. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously, like I'm assuming, you're gonna have Ursula in there, Gaston, I mean, but yeah, that's kind of a different take as opposed to naming the film or naming the song or, interesting. So what is your when you like how long does it take you? Do you spend all week trying to come up with questions? Do you have a day where you're like, I'm gonna sit down today and write the quiz for next because it's Monday nights when you host, right?
Yeah, so I host every Monday night at 6 o'clock in Crystal City, which is an area in Arlington. It's an area called National Landing Water Park. Come check me out if you're in the area.
It's actually a really fun area. Like I wish I was there for trivia because
It's
I
very
think I went. Do you host for the pizza place or just for the whole venue in general?
So the managers of the whole venue technically own the pizza place, own the bar at top, and so
Okay.
like those are the three main areas I could potentially be sitting or hosting. That's the thing that's a little tricky with that place is because they have so many things happening there. It is feasible for me to move all over. And so sometimes I'm sitting in front of the pizza place, sometimes I'm sitting in the bar upstairs, which we do prefer to do when there's like inclement weather. So if it's like rainy or something, I can go up there and
I was just going to ask, do you get so for those listening, where Shreya hosts is it's a lovely, it's kind of, it's like an outdoor food hall park. There's a whole bunch of different types of, there's a pizza place. There was,
I
I think a Middle Eastern place or a falafel place, if I remember. There was at least one or two Asian places. I mean, there was a lot of great food options that were there, and there was a great bar, and it was just I was there. It was a gorgeous night, beautiful sunset. Like it's a great place to go play trivia. So if you are in the Crystal City, Arlington area on a Monday night, like I mean, you're gonna even if you don't like trivia, I think you're gonna have fun going out there and hanging out and drinking and eating, right?
yeah.
But hopefully you'll go out there and like that. If you're listening to this, hopefully you'll like trivia and you're gonna go out there and play. So anyway, so when you're writing the questions, do you have a process? Do you have a method? Do you have or is it just like as the week goes, you're like, oh, I came up with this idea, I'm gonna run with it, and let me go to my computer real quick and jot down some notes or
It's a mixture of things. Most of the time I'm taking note. I have a whole, page of notes on my phone that's just like trivia ideas. So I will make note of that. Sometimes I like listen to a podcast. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool trivia question. Or especially when I go to like museums or something like that, which in DC, obviously there's so many. I'll, find a fact and I'll note it down. And so a lot of times my poor trivia goers will essentially be experiencing my week in a nutshell sometimes when I'm like hosting, which is honestly super fun.
But that is, yeah, that's great
Yeah.
because, like, I mean, that's one of the things I get asked most commonly by people when they find out that I run trivia and I've been running, like, how do you come up with your questions, right? And so it is a process where it's like, okay, this occurred to me this week or this happened and it inspired this round. And, there are ways to take what happens in your everyday life and just turn them into a trivia round. And I think that's kind of fun. So.
I also do have a system of so the first like the top three people or top three teams will get gift cards, but I decided to make the fourth place team also win something. So if you win fourth place, then you get to pick a category for the following week. The idea being that hopefully, if you get fourth place and
Sure.
come up with a theme and you come back the next week, you're more likely to be in the first three.
Absolutely. And I used to do the same thing when I first started out. If you do expand, you'll find that
It's a
that
lot
becomes a much more difficult thing to do because then you have like three or
so
four different venues where people are choosing categories and you're like, oh my God, this is too much for me to put together and write. But if you're doing just one venue like you are, I think that is a wonderful thing to do. And I think it's something that anybody who's kind of a solo one-off trivia host should consider doing, because I think it really does bring your participants a little bit closer to the game. And do you have any sort of veto power? Like if somebody says, I want you to do a round on 12th century Japanese literature, and you're like, I don't know about that. Or like,
Well, technically, I don't say that. I don't particularly say that it's the theme for a whole round. It
okay,
could be the theme for a question. So if you give me
okay,
something
all right.
that's like so particular, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to happen. But I have actually done questions like I have written a question like, write me a limerick,
Okay.
and like, or like I had people write me a haiku once. So I do sometimes do some like kind of fun questions like that where, they could be doing an example of 12th century Japanese.
And do they get points for that, or do they win like a round of shots for that if they do that?
They do.
Or
They get around a. They get points for that. So that's like
okay,
like so instead of having a question that's like, oh, if it's 575, what type of poem is it? Like I feel like
yeah,
that's and okay, this also could be just because again, I was a teacher. I feel like sometimes there are level one questions, which is what we call it in teaching, which is like
sure,
memorization. And I think that's most of what trivia tends to be. But I do sometimes like to incorporate a little bit more of the like level two to level three, which is a little bit more like deeper thinking. So like rather than just saying, okay, 575 is a haiku, now you have to write a haiku. So you have to think through
sure.
what is the 5 syllables, what are 7 syllables. And I do think people tend to have a little bit more fun with those questions. I've like the haikus and limericks and stuff that I've gotten are honestly, they always make me giggle. They're such good times.
Yeah, I had a venue I was hosting at, and it was for a round of shots. It wasn't for points, but I would have at the beginning of the night, I would ask somebody for a celebrity, I
Ooh.
would ask somebody else for a city, and I would
Mhm.
ask somebody else for an animal. And then I would tell people, okay, Sabrina Carpenter is walking her anteater in Seattle.
Mhm.
Draw me a picture that represents that.
Oh, I love that.
And at any point in time before round five or whatever, you could come up with your picture, and I would take all the pictures and I'd put them up, and people could see them. And whoever I felt had the best picture, and it was usually just me judging, I
Yeah.
would give that team a round of shots. And some people, weren't great at trivia, but they had some real artistic teammates, and so they would draw works of art. And some people were just really clever and funny with
Yeah.
their picture, and so every week it was I called it draw three, because it
Yeah.
was a celebrity, a location, and an animal, and you
Mhm.
had all three of those things, and you had to just incorporate them into a picture of some sort. And so it was always interesting to see what people came up with. And it was sometimes more interesting to see the people that had no artistic ability, how they represented it, because then it was
Yeah.
a lot more abstract. So
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. That's actually pretty funny. So the thing about ideas like that, especially when it comes with like, getting shots or something like that as like their prize, that does involve a level of cooperation from your partner organization,
oh
right?
yes, from the venue, sure.
Venue. And I think that's the tricky thing that's always interesting to try to manage, which is okay, so I want to make it clear that like I'm adding value to these venues. And typically, right, when people show up to these things, it's they're definitely ordering drinks, they're ordering food,
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. So they're bringing in money. I think that one thing that's a little tricky about the venue that I'm at is it's very plausible for someone to come in, play trivia, and not spend a dime on anything, right? It is just an open space,
Yeah, it's a park essentially, right?
which
So
is so welcoming and awesome, but it also means like that we need to make sure
yes.
they're getting money. So I do think that that's a trickier sell sometimes, depending
Yeah, I know,
on
absolutely. Especially with the venue you're at. And yes, I was there, and it's like you're right. It is the type of place, because all the tables and chairs are kind of communal to all the different establishments. Like, you know, yeah, somebody could very easily just sit down there and even just bring their own meal and drink and, play trivia. And it's like, oh, you've added no value to the venue. I mean, you have, but yeah. And so that is as you actually were saying how you started at the Abbey, is you would come into work there and you felt obligated to spend money.
Mhm.
And I have that same mentality when I go into a venue. I feel like, okay, I'm using their space. I
Yeah.
need to now support their business, right? And that's the same when you're going out and playing trivia. You
Yeah.
should be supporting the venue that's hosting the trivia. So, order
I
something. even if you take it home and have it for lunch the next day.
Yeah, I agree with that on like a very larger level. I do think that sometimes, especially as like a trivia host, I'm also thinking, okay, so maybe not this week they're spending money, but they're going to come back repeatedly, right? Like you're also building up a consistent base of people that are going to be coming back week after week. I think that it does become a problem for sure if like week after week they're literally never spending money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also
Yeah,
sometimes feel like,
anybody who's
yeah,
coming in multiple weeks, if you have a week where it's like, oh, you know what, I just came from a big event where we had dinner and drinks, and I just wanted to come play, but I get it.
yeah.
I'll say this,
They're gonna
even in
bring
those
their friends at some
situations,
point, like, they're gonna
if
bring other people.
if it's financially viable for you, a
Mhm,
solution to that is buy a meal to go. If you don't want to take it home for lunch, give it to a homeless person. Give it to
mhm,
somebody who doesn't have food. And I've done that before at trivia nights. There are ways you can support the venue without
yeah, yeah,
necessarily eating or drinking yourself.
yeah,
So I've gone to, like, sometimes you have trivia at microbreweries, and a lot of those places don't have kitchens, and I don't drink.
mm,
So I'm not going to buy your beer, but they might sell t-shirts or hats. And so I
mm,
bought like t-shirts and hats from places that I've played trivia at, just so
yeah,
I spend some money and support the venue. All
yeah.
right.
I think
So I
you touched
mean,
on something else that's a little interesting is, like,
yeah.
how much, trivia is tied to drinking culture in the US and, like, how much you kind of have to decouple that, and be like, "Well, you don't have" like, I've had people be like, "Oh, well, I don't know what to order, I'm not gonna drink." It's like, "Well, you don't have to, there's food," especially at the venue
Yeah.
I'm at. They have non-alcoholic drinks, they have, as you said, like, sometimes there's merch, yeah, but, yeah, I think that's an interesting, I think, mental,
Yeah.
aspect that people tie together, like, trivia with drinking too.
Well, and the venue you're at is really wonderful because you have just such a variety. It's like a food hall almost. You have such
Yeah,
a variety of foods, and you
mhm.
have desserts, and so, like, really, there's gonna be something that
Something for
anybody,
everyone.
there's
Yeah,
no limit. Like, if you're a vegetarian, there's vegetarian places there. If you're, like,
yeah,
there's food that fits almost every diet. So
yeah.
yeah. And from what I saw, it all looked pretty good. So I ate there twice in the weekend I was there. I had the pizza one night, and I had one of the Asian places one night, and they were both fantastic.
Yeah.
So
And I also have to say that for those of you who aren't sure because you haven't been, the pizza there is so good. Like it tastes delicious, but also it's huge. Like
it is very big.
yeah,
Yes.
it
Uh,
really does feel like New York style
yeah.
like pizza. It's really good.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I'd like to jump in and play a sunshine trivia quiz if you are
Yeah.
ready to go and have some questions available, and you can we can see how I would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. I'm assuming hopefully this gets cut in editing.
Yeah, you would think it does, but sometimes I'm really not great at the editing. I have a guy, Mike, who's been helping me a little bit, but sometimes I get him the episodes at such a late moment that folks can just listen to us banter for a couple seconds while you pull it up. And I'm looking forward. One, I really want to see how I do on your
Yeah.
escalating clues round, as I'll call it, the one where you get the 5 clues, and the
Mhm.
list round I'm looking forward to. And of course, the hidden connections are always my favorite rounds. So you have a lot of types of trivia in your set that I know already I'm gonna like. So
Yep.
I'm curious what the questions are gonna be, and how much I will know. And listen, not to toot my own horn,
Mhm.
I play a lot of trivia.
Yeah.
I do pretty well. In fact, so it's funny. So I've played trivia in 47 out of 50 states.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I'm actually 1 week from today going, or no, 1 week from tomorrow, sorry.
Mhm.
On Monday morning next week, I am going on a road trip where I'm going to drive out to Red Rocks, Colorado, and I'm going to go by way of North Dakota, Montana, and Wyoming, which are the 3 states I've never played trivia in. And I
Oh, wow.
plan to play trivia on Monday the 21st in Fargo, North Dakota, on
Mhm.
Tuesday the 22nd, somewhere in Montana, maybe Billings or somewhere else,
Mhm.
and on Wednesday the 23rd, maybe Cheyenne, Wyoming, or somewhere in Wyoming, and then get down to Red Rocks for a concert on Friday, and then I'm going to drive back. And it's funny. So when I was in Virginia, I was actually, wait, have I played in? So I've only played in Virginia. I played a couple of times, and I think I played in Arlington. There's a company called District Trivia, which you might be familiar
Yeah,
with because they have some venues near you. But
yeah.
they had a big tournament once, and it was in Virginia, and I played there in that tournament. But I don't know that I've played a true pub quiz experience in Virginia. So maybe I'll have to come back and play
Oh,
an
okay.
actual Sunshine Trivia. Now, how cold does it get in the winter, by the way? What do you do in the winter months? Is it,
Winter can get pretty cold. Thankfully, again, Water Bar, which is that area upstairs that has,
yeah,
they have an ability because it's technically a porch. So, like in the summer, when or like during nice weather, they can open it up and it's just like open air.
okay, yeah,
So there aren't like actual walls. However, they do have these covers that they can drop down.
okay,
And so then you can get protected from the elements.
okay.
During peak winter, they actually do have heaters in there. Actually, during the winter time, it once got so hot in there because those heaters are working.
Wow. All right.
But yeah, that place is it can get real warm in there, but it also is, I think, really, really great. Okay, let me see. All right, so I've got a couple of rounds, and I also wanted to throw out there a couple of other things that I think are really cool about my trivia. So one. I'm not doing it at the moment, although we're in discussion about potentially bringing it back. But I at first when I started hosting trivia, every single week we would donate about I think it was 15% of what the venue would get towards a charity, and that became actually a winner's choice sort of like thing where the winner would get to pick the charity that we would be supporting for the
Well,
next.
that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a cool prize, and also just in general a nice thing to bring back. And then I actually used to go to a place in Los Angeles called Scum and Villainy Canteen. I'm gonna just go ahead and plug it for them. They are a Star Wars themed bar, but they always had a trivia night. And one of their things that I loved, or two things I loved about their trivia, one thing they had a This Week in Geek where specifically it was, asking questions about like, oh, which new game was announced or which movie,
Yeah.
yeah, like that kind of thing, which I thought was really cool. I haven't really quite been able to replicate that because, frankly, even at the time, I was like, where are you guys getting your information? I'm not learning any of this. Like, it is not in my newsfeed. But then the second thing I loved that they did, which I have been able to incorporate, is they have a trivia quest. For them, it was kind of like a board game that you could kind of follow along with, and you would essentially get to move forward if you showed up. If your team was like a repeat team, you got to move forward. If you won, I think you got to move forward. And there were a couple of other things that could help you move forward on this game board. But also, you could get things like almost like Mario Party type things where it's like you could like get like make someone stop for a whole week, like they couldn't move forward and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
I did a version of that on my own trivia. So if you are a team that keeps coming back, you can move forward on my game board. You can actually find the game board linked to my website. But on the game board, there are also chance spaces. If you land on a chance space, then I have like, Super Mario Party things where you can get like a Mario star where you're protected from a negative effect. You can get a warp box where you switch places with someone. You can
Now, if you get to the end of the game board, is there a prize at the end of the game
yeah.
board or?
Yeah, so at the previous venue, I was able to get them to agree to naming a drink. Like the team that won got to name a drink, and that would be
Okay.
the could order. At the new venue, it's mostly been like swag. So we've been able to give away like coffee mugs. I've been also asking around to like the nearby venues. So we got like drink tickets or something from or coupons or something from the Alamo Draft House that's across the street. So
Okay.
like it's just random cool stuff. But it my little thing that I say about that is because even week after week, if you still lose, you can still win. So
There's, I'm sure you'll know what it is. There was a really cool ice cream place, not part of the venue you're at, but like around the corner. You should
yeah,
get them to give you like free scoops or something to give
yeah,
out to
like a
folks
I
because
think it's Van Heusen or something.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yep,
It
yep.
was very tasty. So,
All right, so this is my trivia. All right.
oh, yes, we have for those that are just listening and not watching. So you put this on screens for your players as well, then, right?
If I can. So the venue that I host at now, where I typically host when I'm outdoors, I don't have a screen, but sometimes I am able to put it on a screen. The original place where I hosted, I did have it on screen. So I generally prefer as much as I can to have both a visual and the audio because I know that they're different modalities for learners and for people. But I do have a nice little PowerPoint because in case people want to ask me, or want to see the questions or whatever, I at least have it there for them.
Okay.
All right. So, question number one of my first round. Again, this is general trivia. In the Philippines, a duck embryo known as balut will do the trick. In Mongolia, it's pickled sheep eyeballs in tomato juice. Ancient Romans would eat a deep fried canary. What are these regional delicacies a cure for?
So, I mean, I don't have any clue, but I'm trying to think of, what you would create some sort of thing to cure. And so I'm thinking it's either going to be something like a hangover cure. That seems to be the most obvious guess that I could make, or it's going to be something like a cure for like a common cold. But I mean, if it's not hangover, it could almost be anything. And I'm hoping that the answer is a cure for a hangover, because I think if it is, then I kind of love this question because I think it's something that's not very obvious and most people don't know, but it's also maybe very figure out, which I like those types of questions. So I'm going to say hangover. And by the way, you don't have to give me whether I'm right or wrong till the end, because I think you don't do that with your normal rounds, right? So I'll write down my answers and then we'll go over the answers at the end.
Yep.
Grab a pen here and we'll say hangover is what
Yeah,
I'm going to say on that one. All right. Let's
After
go on to
our first
question
one,
two.
then we'll. Yep. Question two. What is the clinical name for the thigh bone?
Oh God. Okay. I'm like, okay, I'm so it's not the femur, right? It's the femur, like, wow, I should so know this like right away. Because it is the femur, right? Femur came to mind right away. It has to be that. I'm overthinking this. I'm gonna go femur. Okay.
All right. Question three. Who is the author of the 1960 novel about social and racial inequality in To Kill a Mockingbird?
That is Harper Lee, portrayed by Sandra Bullock in the film Notorious. I love Sandra Bullock. I also love Harper Lee, but yeah.
I actually don't think I've seen that movie. All right. Four. What is the name of Elon Musk's satellite train?
Oh God. I mean, it's like a bullet train, but it's Elon. So it's like I just assume it's got to have some sort of immature name because he's such a moron. But I don't know that I know this. So like his Teslas are the Model S, 3, X, and Y, which spells sexy because he literally is like a fourth grade boy that
Oh, yeah.
never grew up but got $1 billion, and just he's so immature and stupid. Sorry, Elon, but you are. So I just think it's going to be something like, inappropriate or crude sounding, but I can't think of anything funny. So I'm just going to say the booty train.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Five. The bassoon is a member of what musical family?
That would be a woodwind.
Question six. Maine borders which U.S. state? And yes, it is only one.
That is right. It's the only state that borders just one state, and I've driven from New Hampshire into Maine. So I'm fairly confident that the answer is New Hampshire on that one.
Nice. I actually, in my intro to the general trivia, I usually say, whatever things have happened in your Slumdog Millionaire life that help you like answer these
Yeah.
trivia questions.
And for that one in particular, a lot of people have trouble remembering whether it's Vermont and New Hampshire, like which one is which. And so what helped me remember is there's a Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is a port on the ocean, right? And
Mhm.
Vermont doesn't have an ocean border. So you can always remember New Hampshire is the one that is furthest east because it's the one that has a port and Vermont doesn't. So
Yeah. I feel like that's a helpful way to remember, but also I don't know if people remember that level of detail for even like Maine's geography.
yeah,
So
no, you have to know Portsmouth, New Hampshire is a city. And just like then I go, oh, port, it's on the water. So that's just my little mnemonic.
yeah. All right. Seven. What fantasy kingdom is the main setting for the Legend of Zelda video game series?
So I try and also, like we were saying earlier, kind of cater questions to the crowd that I'm in. So one of the topics that people always want to hear is video game questions. And I'm not a gamer, but one of the questions that I have in my like head that I always ask is what is the name of and I usually say just fictional world that is the main setting for The Legend of Zelda. So I know this is Hyrule.
All right. Number eight. What revolutionary leader wrote the influential Common Sense in 1776?
And I love some American history, so I know that is Thomas Paine.
Awesome. Number 9. Again, this is a math question because, again, I was once upon a time a math teacher. I am a big fan of math coming back to bite everyone in the butt. So, how many inches are there in 2 yards?
Well, this is the kind of math that I like because it's the kind of math I can just figure out and do. You have 12 inches in a foot, you have 3 feet in a yard, you have 6 feet in 2 yards. So 6 times 12 would be 72 inches in 2 yards.
All right. Number 10. If a shopping cart contains
Ah,
an apple, 2 bananas, 3 oranges, and 4 hot dogs, what percentage of the cart's total contains fruit?
this is
And
another type of math question that
is-
I can actually do, I think. So
I
we
decided
have
to
one
double up
apple.
on this one.
Yeah, one apple, 2 bananas, so that's three. 3 oranges is six. 4 hot dogs is 10. So 6 of 10 are fruit. So 60% of that cart is fruit.
Awesome. All right. So then I usually have a 1 minute wait period.
We don't have to do that because it's just me, but we can skip by that and yeah.
Let's go through the answers. Question number 1. In Philippines, the duck embryos known as balut will do the trick. In Mongolia, pickled sheep eyeballs. Ancient Romans, deep fried canary. These are all a cure for the hangover.
Nice. Also, I'll mention for people obviously that are listening, you can't see, Shreya has slides with the questions on them. And on the answer slide, she has a picture of the movie The Hangover, which I'll just mention that, one of the things I did to make my trivia more accessible when I first started was I started putting the questions on slides. And I would also use pictures so I would have a question just like this, but
Mhm.
when I show you the question, I would show you the picture from the movie The Hangover without the title being there. So if
Yes.
you recognize that it was from The Hangover, it was a hint to the answer. In this case, it would actually be the answer. And it was just a way for, like, if you had no idea on a question I was asking about, but you could identify the picture served as a hint. So it was just another way in. Anyway,
No, I
we'll
love
go
those.
on.
I've also been to slash heard of trivias where they would play a song that was somehow
Yes, a
related.
hint. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Question 2. The clinical name for a thigh bone is a femur.
Okay, good. I was like unnecessarily worried on that. It was like, so that's one of those questions that I like to refer to as stupid easy, but good
Mhm.
trivia.
Yes.
Like, because it's one of those things where, like, right away I knew it was the femur, and then right away I went, wait, is it the femur or am
Yes.
I thinking of something else?
Yep. It's also one of those types of questions where I feel like everyone, at least at some point in time, has heard it. And
Sure.
so when they hear the
Exactly.
answer, they're going to be like, oh, there was a chance of me getting that. And I
Yeah.
generally try, at least for the first round, try my best
Yeah.
to incorporate that into the trivia. Question 3. Who is the author of To Kill a Mockingbird? That is Harper Lee, which you got. 4. Elon Musk's satellite train is called Starlink. So that's a
Oh yeah, yeah. I was actually thinking of, like, isn't he also trying to build some like super fast train in Cal, or is he not doing that? That's what I was thinking of.
oh.
Starlink, yeah, I should have maybe thought about that more and come up with that. But oh well,
Yeah.
can't be perfect. So
I've actually been able to see this in the night sky. I was camping, so it was pretty clear, and it looked like ants crawling across the sky. It was so crazy to see. It was,
wow.
yeah, honestly, I couldn't stop looking at it. It is mind-boggling that this exists, though. All right. 5. The bassoon is a member of the woodwind family, which you got. Maine borders New Hampshire. Very nice. The fantasy kingdom is Hyrule. The revolutionary leader that wrote Common Sense is Thomas Paine. The number of inches in 2 yards is indeed 72 inches, and the shopping cart contains 60% fruit.
Look at me doing math. All right, 9 out of 10.
You killed it. All right. Am I able to share sound?
Yeah, you should be.
All right, let me go ahead and hold on. Zoom is asking me. All right, so I am now able to share sound. I'm going to go ahead and share it. So this one is one of my favorites. It is based off of Vitamin String Quartet. They do like a lot of covers, but they are
Okay.
string cover. So this is all just like strings, like literally a quartet of strings.
Okay.
This is covers of rock songs because you mentioned before this that you
Yeah.
rock music. So the songs I play are varying in length. Some of them are really, really short, some of them are pretty long, but you're just writing the name of the song that is being covered.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, let me just double check what day that is. Okay. I have every single list of every song or anything that I've played over time saved. So,
Covering my screen so I don't see, because
oh,
I think you're sharing the screen. I don't know if the
oh,
names of the songs are going to be on there.
oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me,
You might want to take the screen sharing down because I
yeah.
put a sheet of paper over my screen.
No, I appreciate you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here, I'm just
So,
gonna go ahead and share just the questions.
okay.
Hold on. Is it okay? Now when I change over, yep, okay. All right. So question number one. Again, you are
I,
just naming the song that's being covered.
I don't hear anything yet.
Oh, hold on. It says
Let's
that the
see.
sound is sharing. Let me try that one more time. Hold on. Let me just change how I'm sharing that. Hold on. Advanced computer audio. All right. So now I'm not sharing a screen. I'm just going to share the audio.
All right.
All right. Let's try this again one more time. All right. That was question one.
I'm going to do very bad at this round, but that's okay. I'm just going to say Enter Sandman. I don't think that's right, but
All right.
we're gonna go with it.
Question two.
That's Sweet Child of Mine. I'm all over that. That's
All
Guns
right.
N' Roses.
All right. Since in this round, I can just give you the answers as we go. Yes, that is Sweet Child of Mine. Question three.
Okay. Oh, that little Ozzy, is that Crazy Train?
It is indeed Crazy Train.
That's a great version of Crazy Train. I kind of want
Right?
to listen to the
Vitamin
whole
C
thing.
Circuit. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
good. Actually, I'll go back to number one real quick. It sounded like this. This is slightly later than the 80s. This is Evanescence, Bring Me to Life.
Oh, well, that explains. Yeah, I was never going to get that. I
Yeah.
couldn't recognize an Evanescence song if you paid me.
What? Okay, question four.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
Okay.
God. So this is where I'm horrible at like I know that song. It's a great song. I know it. We're gonna come back to that. We gotta skip
Okay.
that. I'm gonna have you play that for me at the end. It is bugging me that I didn't get that right away.
All right, we'll come back.
It's Queen. Okay, play that one more time. It's not
Mhm.
Bohemian Rhapsody right now. Play that one more. It's definitely Queen. She's a killer queen,
That's
right?
it. Call
All right.
Queen. Yep. Okay, number six. That's all you get.
Yeah, that sounded familiar, but not like four. I know that I know, like I recognize that. Five, I knew two and three. Six, it's like I feel like I know it, but I don't think I'm gonna get there. So we're just gonna go to seven.
All right. Do you want me to name?
Yeah, go ahead, tell me. I'm
All
not
right.
gonna get there.
That is U2's With or Without You.
Yeah, see, U2 is one of those bands. I should have I know them, just not well enough to recognize them unless I'm actually listening to them. But
That's
yeah.
fair. That's fair. All right. Number seven.
Ooh, that's a fun one too. I like it. I don't know what it is though.
Want me to
Uh,
play it again or do you want me to?
yeah, play it one more time. We'll see if
Okay.
I can pick up on it. Is that a 90s rock hit?
It is. Well,
Yeah.
it might be early 2000. I actually don't know the exact date of this song.
Yeah, I was thinking late 90s, but early 2000. But I'm trying to it's not, is it Coldplay? I don't know. I don't know. What is it?
It's Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, that's early 90s. Oh, God, I should have totally gotten that. Okay.
I actually don't know when this song came from, but it's something that's so part of my childhood that I feel like it is
Oh,
late 90s.
Smells Like Teen Spirit. Well, it's my high school years. I believe it was 91 or 90 is when it came out. So yeah, but yeah. All right, let's go with number eight.
Yep, number eight.
Oh God. Oh, that's is that AC/DC? Shook
Hmm.
Me All Night Long? No. Back in Black?
Nope.
No. Money Talks? No. What is it? It's AC/DC.
It's Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck. Ah.
All right, number nine.
No clue. Ooh. Wait a minute. Play that again.
Uh-huh.
At the end there. Oh my God. Oh, we're gonna have to come back to that.
All right. Coming back to that.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
And number 10. That's all you get for that one.
Yeah, I'm not getting that one.
What? I'm
What
gonna
is
play
it?
it one more time. I know you know it. This was your original guess for question one, Enter Sandman.
Oh God.
All right, now we're gonna go back to number four, and then we'll do number nine. Number four again.
Yeah, 4 and 9. Yeah.
Now it was number four.
God, I know that song. Like, I like that song. I listened to that song many times, and I don't
Every
know what it is.
sports fan knows that song too, although they might not know the name of it. It is by White Stripes. It is Seven Nation Army.
Yeah, okay. Not
Mm.
my favorite band, but I really like that song, and it's just such a catchy rhythm.
It really is.
Yeah. All right. And what's number 9 again?
Number nine.
God, this is like my music right here. This is
Mhm.
This is so my music. This is like I've missed questions on these quizzes before. I think this is the one that's going to make me feel the worst for missing because
Oh,
it's in my head and I know it's in my head and I can't even I don't even want to say what's in my head because I think it's wrong. And all right, what is it? Just put me out of my misery.
it is Def Leppard's Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Yeah. And when we were talking about what I like before the quiz, and people can't see this, but I
Mhm.
showed Shreya my Joe Elliott pop doll that I had sitting next to me. And I'm like, that's one of my all-time favorite songs. And I couldn't recognize it. Oh my God. That's just embarrassing. But I tell you, this is like audio rounds at any trivia night I go to when they have an audio round, it's like my Achilles heel because I just don't hear well. And so a lot of times, I just fail miserably. So I think I got 3 out of 10 there, maybe. Yeah, Sweet
You did
Child
a
of
little
Mine,
bit
Crazy Train,
better.
and Killer Queen.
Yeah.
If I had a team, I think we would have gotten to Enter Sandman, Smells Like Teen Spirit, With or Without You, and probably Pour Some Sugar on Me,
Yep.
and maybe Seven Nation Army and Thunderstruck. I think the only one I don't know, I would have needed somebody who would have known Evanescence to get that one. I would never that one. I could have been of no help on. So sorry, Evanescence fans.
Wow. Cannot believe it. How dare you?
Yeah.
All right. So, round number three. Round three is a bit different from the previous one. So, my round threes can kind of switch up a little bit. As I mentioned, they can be all kinds of things, but for this one, I called it English is Weird. So, for this theme round, again, my round three is a theme round, and it really can switch up what I mean by that. And this time, each question will be a singular noun, but your answer will be the correct plural form. Spelling does count this round. So I don't usually
Okay.
have spelling count, especially since nowadays everyone has iPhones. So there's autocorrect. And all of my answers, by the way, everyone submits using a Google form because it's just a lot
Oh,
grade. Spelling rounds are a little bit harder. Sometimes I will still do a spelling round and then just manually put in people's scores. But yeah, this
yeah.
one
I didn't even ask you whether you were a pen and paper game or you use Google Forms to submit.
I
So
do.
yeah, for a spelling round, can you disable spell check on a Google form or are you not able to do that?
I don't think I'm able to do that because I think that's by the person's
Yeah, their
but
device, sure.
yeah, unless they, use a Chromebook, in which case, like, I'm able to do a little bit more
Yeah.
cool, but honestly, it's okay. I have done where, like, I literally just pass out paper to people and I'm like, "All right, physically write it," but I have to plan ahead for when I
Yeah.
do that. So I have done, like, actual spelling rounds where you have to spell the question, but I
All
don't.
right. Let's see how many plurals I can get.
All right. So, again, for those listening, the question would be a word like locus, and your answer would have to be loci, LOCI, as the plural noun or plural form. All right. Question number one. This one I did find online, so don't hate me for this one. Question number one, beef, a plural form of beef.
Well, so I assume we're talking about the noun beef, right? Because obviously you could have a beef with somebody. And I mean, obviously if it's a plural form, it would have to be a noun, right? Is that right? Do you have to be a noun?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I'm bad sometimes at grammar, but so the other thing is I think sometimes there are multiple plurals. So I'm not sure. I think beeves, Beeves, and I think are both acceptable plurals of beef. So I don't know if you ever do you, I,
If there are multiple answers, then I'm able to give you points for any of them.
okay. So I would just say, I mean, I know beefs is good in Scrabble, Beef, though I don't know. I'm going to say Bee because I'm fairly certain that that is, I think, the more common plural of beef.
All right. Question two. Sphinx. 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 And no, it is not sphinxes.
Oh, so now I think that maybe, I mean, I think there's only one Sphinx. I don't know why you would need a plural. I'm going to just say that it's Sphinx. I think that maybe it's a trick and there is no,
All
I
right.
think it's Sphinx. Yeah. Yeah.
Cul-de-sac.
Ooh. So my
Wait, I
guess,
think you might actually know this one.
well, I mean, I think. I would typically I would just put an S at the end of cul-de-sac and make cul-de-sacs. Like I don't, it doesn't seem right without, like, if I put like CKS, I guess, but I'm just gonna say cul-de-sacs with an S at the end. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
or Attorney General.
This one I'm pretty sure is attorneys general. I think I've asked this before, actually. I like that. I'm pretty positive that's attorneys general. Either that or I've had it asked to me before, but I'm fairly certain that is correct.
5, octopus.
I was hoping this would be on here, and octopi, although I think technically octopuses might be in the dictionary, but octopi is definitely the more common plural of octopus.
All right. 6, phylum.
Oh, this is one of those funky ones where it's going to be like phyli or something like that. Oh boy, phylum. That is, so I'm trying to, like, I'm writing down a whole bunch of possibilities, and I'm like, is it, oh wait, phyla, not, I was writing down and it just looked funny. But when I change the I to an A, I think phyla is, and I believe that's good in Scrabble. I used to play a lot of tournament Scrabble.
Wow.
So while I'm
That's
not
a
necessarily
good
great at spelling, that, which is why I think like a lot of these like weird alternate, like, octopuses, I think is technically acceptable in Scrabble, even though it's certainly not the common plural of octopus. I think that's correct. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to go with phyla.
Okay. Number 7, Prius. And this was actually voted on. So like the company,
Yeah, because it's a corporate thing, right? Yeah.
they created an official term that people had to like vote on and put in. So that there is an official quote unquote like plural for Prius.
So, I mean, there's no way for me to know this, but I'm just gonna say it's pre-I with two I's at the end, like radii.
All right. Number 8, sheep.
I think that the plural of sheep is literally just sheep. So I'm gonna just say sheep.
9, parenthesis.
I believe that is parentheses, and you just change the I to an E at the end. So you're not adding anything, you're just changing the I to an E.
And 10, alumnus.
And that would be, well, so I think, I mean, alumni would be, but I think alumna is also acceptable, like AE, but I'm going to go with alumni, ALUMNI. So there you go.
All right. So again, I would give my minute and then I go into the answer. So beef, you're correct. The most official.
Yeah, that's the more common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more official plural is beeves, Beeves, which a lot of people are always shocked by actually when I do.
Yeah, no, it doesn't, it looks weird.
It looks weird.
You don't ever see it.
Yep. 2
Um,
sphinges with a G.
Yeah, I did. I would not have come up with that. And I don't think Sphinx needs a plural. I think there's only one Sphinx. I don't like this. No.
One big sphinx, but you can make
Yes,
a mini sphinx.
fair enough.
All right. 3, the plural of cul-de-sac, because the root is French, is cul-de-sac.
Well, I don't speak French, so
Although I
all
did
right.
once in school. Question 4, that is indeed attorneys general.
All right.
Number 5, octopuses is the proper term. This is actually a Greek word, and pi is actually a Latin ending. So people will say octopi because they're acting as if it is a Latin word, but it actually was a Greek word. So the plural is octopuses.
But octopi, I mean, like, it's in the dictionary, right?
I don't think so. Or if it is, it might have been a more recent addition, but
Yeah.
technically.
I know it's acceptable in Scrabble, octopi.
Ooh.
That much I know. But I actually just Google it, and it's like the AI answer is the word octopi is often mistakenly used as the plural of octopus, but the correct plural form is octopuses. Well, and so I mean, you're totally right in your answer. It's kind of like irregardless. Irregardless is not a word, but it's now in the dictionary because so many people use it as a word. So I think octopi might be yeah.
Yeah, if you ever read that book, that's what I always think about is like you can create words basically.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No, fair. I am wrong. I claim no points on that question.
I do try to give points wherever I can, but yeah, I definitely would have marked you wrong on that one.
No, I think you would have rightfully marked me wrong.
There also though are some times where if you can make me laugh, I'll give you partial credit.
Fair.
Question 6, phylum, the correct plural is phyla.
Okay, so got that one.
And Prius, yep, the official designated term is Pre-I.
I'd have been mad if it was something else. That makes the most sense. So yeah.
It does feel like something people would vote on.
Yeah.
Question 8, sheep is indeed just sheep. Number 9, parenthesis does become parentheses. And number 10, alumnus, yep, becomes alumni. Alumnae, the one that you were saying, where
Yeah.
that's actually the singular form of a female.
Okay. But if you add an E to the end of alumni with like, does that make it a plural of the, like if it's multiple female alumnus
I
or?
think alumnae, just like AE, is the singular. It might be alumna if it's plural of just woman.
Okay. Yeah.
I have to
Uh,
double check
again,
that.
I'm just going off of, well, I think this is good in Scrabble. So I don't know that. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Yeah, so that was my round number
All right.
3. That was
So I
my
got 7 out of 10 there. So I'm at 19 out of 30. By the way, I'm tracking my score. So because I'm a nerd and I like to know how I did.
love
Uh,
it.
all
So we're
right.
gonna go ahead and skip the picture round, but just for the people listening, my picture rounds really can vary. I've done picture rounds that include things like there was once because it was Halloween, I put in people's like costumes and you had to name the like pun that they were trying to represent with
Okay.
the costume.
Like
Um,
Spudnik for Ross on Friends. Yeah. So, you know what? If you don't want to skip that, like I actually, so the round you have up here is write the country for the place represented. I
mhm.
think we could do this. Like, obviously, the people listening won't, but I can describe the pictures well enough that I think people might be able to get the. If you wanna go through it real quick,
We can try it. Yeah.
let's do it. Yeah. All right. So one, we have a big fountain with it looks like a lion birding water into some pond with some steps by the side of it. I
Mhm.
would think that that would be something like Singapore or China. I would guess Singapore. I don't know. Two, we have the Rapa Nui statues. If you're familiar, I think that's what those are, the Rapa Nui statues, which I believe is on Easter Island, which I believe is part of Chile. Three, so it looks like the Eiffel Tower, but I think it actually is the Vegas Strip and not the Eiffel Tower because it looks like a bunch of hotels. So it might be Las Vegas. Four is two statues, and it looks like it might be an Asian country, and it looks like those are almost representative of people who are supposed to be lauded as this is a tough picture round, by the way. I'm gonna say it might be like North Korea, like it's like Kim Jong Un and Kim Jong Il, but I'm not sure. Five is some sort of castle-like structure with kind of a reddish tint. It's probably a famous palace. I'm going to just guess maybe it's in Spain. Six is an absolutely gorgeous sunset and mountain with a pond. It's very green. It almost looks Matterhorn-like, but it's not the Matterhorn. And it's so green and just wow, I want to go there. So I'm really curious where it is. If I had to guess, I think I can't think it's Switzerland because I think it would be snow-capped if it's an Alp. It might be South America. I'm gonna go with Peru, maybe, and I think that's probably wrong, but it's a beautiful, beautiful scene. Number seven is a almost looks like a temple, looks like almost a Baha'i temple or maybe a Buddhist temple. It's beautiful architecture, has kind of a hole in the middle of it with some water underneath. I know Baha'i temples are very elaborate structures. I'm going to say maybe that's in India. Eight is some beautiful trees. They look like maybe, I can't remember if they're called like baobab trees. They almost look like Joshua trees, but they're not. Maybe I'm just gonna guess Australia on that, but that's another place I'd love to visit. I love nature. Nine is a castle, probably in Europe somewhere, and oh boy, I'm gonna guess maybe it's in no, Austria. I'm gonna guess Austria because the next one I believe is Germany, and I believe that's Dachau, the concentration camp. So I'm gonna say that's Dachau.
All right. So I actually did also have like some zoomed in versions that I could show
Okay.
if you needed it, but let's go through the answers. So question number 1, you were spot on. That is Singapore. Nice little city in the background, but it also still has like its more cultural elements in the foreground.
Yeah, and it's just supposed to be the cleanest city in the world, and I'd love to visit there sometime.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely on my list. I've been to Asia so many times, so pretty much only to India because that's where my family's from.
Okay.
So I'm like, I have so many other places in
Sure.
Russia that I need to go. Question two, you were also spot on again. That is Easter Island in Chile.
Okay.
Number three, once again, you reasoned that out well. It is supposed to be the United States of America. It was supposed to be a little thing to throw you off to show the Eiffel Tower. I was able to
Sure.
pull a couple teams with it.
I'll bet, because you know what? That you see the Eiffel Tower and you don't even think, and you just go, oh, well, that's the Eiffel Tower. It's France. It's easy. But yeah.
And then next to that, question four was indeed North Korea.
Yes. All right. I'm very proud of myself for logicking that one out.
Yeah, number five actually is the Red Fort in India.
Uh,
I've actually been there. It's really, really cool
I'm
architectural
sure.
engineering marvel. It's really, really cool. Okay. Number six, you were really close to, I think, reasoning it out, but actually it was Iceland.
I should. Yeah. I almost said Ireland,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, that is such a beautiful. And you know what? I've been to Iceland in the middle of summer, and the sky looked just like that.
It's so I like
It's
want to go so bad.
it's so beautiful. I was only there for a day, but I want to go back. It's beautiful.
Yep. Number seven, that is Iran.
Oh,
Yeah, so
is
that
that
is
a temple or is that
I
like a mosque?
I don't think that's either. I want to say it's actually more of a I can't remember what it was. It's been
A
a long time since I made this trip.
beautiful building.
Yeah, I think it's more of a government structure.
Okay.
I don't actually remember. Yeah, but I know that that's in Iran. And then number eight is actually Madagascar. Those are the
What are those trees? Do you know?
don't remember off the top of my head right now. I used
Okay.
to know. Number nine, that actually is in Colombia.
Okay.
So there's a pretty heavy European influence, obviously, in a lot of places in South America. So this was actually a castle built into the side of a mountain.
Oh,
And
I was right, by the way. They are baobab trees. I just didn't know the
yeah,
country they were in.
there it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
Madagascar. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say, I was like, you were saying the right tree name, but then you said Australia.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe I'm
Yep. I had the right tree. I just didn't know where those trees were located.
now you
Okay.
know. And
Yeah.
then number 10, that actually is Auschwitz, which is in Poland.
Oh, I should have. Okay, well, first of all, I'm just going to call myself out. Bad Jew. Should
Oh,
have. Yeah, should have gotten that. I have to visit both Dachau and Auschwitz. Yeah, my
really?
family. I have some from that were from Germany, so
Oh,
maybe I lean that way. All right, I only got 4 out of 10 there. I should have
I
gotten
mean,
at least
you
six,
did
but I
pretty
should have
well
gotten
there.
7 really.
I mean, like listening to your thought process, you were so close for a lot of these. And again, I think
Yeah.
some of them, if you had had a larger team, you could have, I think.
Yes, and that's why trivia should be a team thing, is right? Is because like I was getting close on a lot of them, I didn't get there.
Yep.
So
It's always a little tricky. All right, so now we're in round number 5. This is the find the connection round. So hold on, let me double check if this is the round I wanted to show you. Because there's another one that I think I wanted to show you a little bit more. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to show you a different round 5 actually, because I just want to. All right, so we're going to switch over to a different trivia that I created. And this is my round 5 from that one. All right, so for this round, after you answer questions 1 through 9, you're going to answer question 10, which is what the previous 9 answers have in common. For those of you listening, if you haven't played it before, I actually played around where this was the like answers and the connection. So an example would be I would have questions that lead you to answers like carbon copy, narcolepsy, she's the man, fuzzy wuzzy. The connection is that they all contain different words for police, cop, narc, the man, fuzz. Honestly, one of the toughest trivia rounds I ever played in terms of finding the connection. Hopefully my trivia is not nearly as difficult. IDK, we'll see. May the force be with you. All right, question number 1. To do this action to a pot or piece of clay means to scratch hatch marks into it as part of joining clay pieces together.
so my first thought is I think cleaving is something you do with clay.
I'm in the right one. Yes.
Huh. I'm not 100% sure on this one. There's something called like scoring, I think, clay, but I don't really know. All right. Well, once we get the theme, so I've got like cleaving and scoring, I think are things you do with clay, but I don't really know what they are. So, yeah.
Also called Pesach, what is the major Jewish holiday that celebrates the biblical story of the Israelites?
Well, alrighty. So I can get a little redemption here for misidentifying Auschwitz as Dachau. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry to my ancestors. This is Passover.
All right, question number 3. A common feature at fairs, what target hidden game ends with a satisfying splash when someone falls into a small pool of water?
That would be a dunk tank. And so now, by the way, just for those listening, we have pass over, dunk tank. So I have pass and dunk, which is leading me towards something sporty and basketball, which means scoring is what I'm going with for the first one at the moment, but we may switch. Let's go with question number 4.
Question 4. What 1991 film is about a federal agent named Johnny Utah, played by Keanu Reeves, that infiltrates a suspected bank robbing group?
I am an FBI agent. That is Point Break. That's one of my favorite lines from that movie. Of course, it was remade. The original was directed by Catherine Bigelow, who would go on to be the first woman to win the Best Director Academy Award for The Hurt Locker. But Point Break.
That's actually cool trivia there. What is the name of the international financial institution that provides loans and grants to governments of low and middle income countries for the purpose of pursuing capital projects?
Hmm. Huh. So now I'm trying to think of something. I don't know that I know the answer to this, but I'm trying to think of something that fits the sporty or basketball theme. And I don't know that all right, well, let's go on to the next one. We'll come back to that because right now I've got nothing on that.
All right. Number 6. If you are a whiz with Excel or Google Sheets, then you know how to create what table of grouped values that aggregates the individual items of a more extensive table within one or more discrete categories.
Okay. Oh, wait, the World Bank is probably the last one, and bank would be basketball related. So, yeah, so let's go with World Bank. All right. So, a table of grouped values in Excel, and it's got to be. So, I think the basketball thing is definitely right, but like, all right, let's move on to that because
All the finance bros that know this are yelling through the
yeah, I'm not, that's not me though. So, yeah.
Number 7, often represented by a garden gnome. What Expedia owned agency helps people book adventures around the world?
And that would be Travelocity, and you don't want to travel in basketball. So now I'm very certain that basketball is my thing, but yeah.
Question number 8, be sure not to spend it. What object was released with special design so that all 50 states and 6 territories were represented and collectible?
That would be your quarter.
If you're going to if you're going through a rough breakup, your friends might encourage you to find a blank, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah,
7 letter word, even if you're not fully over your ex.
that would be your rebound.
All right, and then number 10, the question you've all been waiting for. What did the previous 9 answers
All
have?
right. So we have basketball. So let's go back to question 6 because that was the one so the group values. So
Is with Excel or Google Sheets, then you know how to create what table of grouped values that aggregates the individual items of a more extensive table with one or more discrete categories.
So basketball terms that I haven't used are assist, steal, block. Could be something with block in it. Data block. Let's go with data block. I don't know. That seems to make sense and fit the theme. So
All right, let's go through the answers. All right, question number 1, you know to do this action to a pot or piece of clay means to put scratch hatch marks into it. That is scoring. Scoring.
all right.
2, as you correctly said, the major Jewish holiday is Passover. 3, a dunk tank is that target hitting game. 4, that movie is Point Break. 5, it is indeed the World Bank.
All right.
Number 6, that is a pivot table.
Oh, too bad.
Number 7 is Travelocity. 8 is a quarter. 9 is a rebound. And 10, if you look at all those answers, score, pass, dunk, point, bank, pivot, travel, quarter, rebound, those all have to do with basketball.
All right. So I got 9 there. So 12, 19, 23. I'm at 32. All righty.
All right. So now we're going to go into my round number 6. So this is inspired by some rounds that I played where it was more based off of location, but I just really took this round and ran with it. So again, for this round, there's only one answer that you may use, and you may only respond one time. So I will name 5 clues, and the number of points you may earn changes depending on how many clues you need to hear before submitting your response. So if I only give you one clue and you're able to answer it, then you can give me all 10, then you can get all 10 points. 2 clues 8, 3 clues 6, 4 clues 4, 5 clues 2 points. Again, if you are wrong, you get 0 points for this round.
All right.
The clues should ideally make it easier and easier throughout, but again, it's up to you. May the force be with you. All right, clue number 1. This is the 10-point clue. Tyrone William Griffin Jr., better known by his stage name, is an American singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist and record producer who first gained recognition for his feature on rapper YG's 2010 single "Toot It and Boot It." I am the last character of his 3-character long stage name. So again,
I am the last character of his 3-character long stage name.
Mhm.
So I'm
So
not really sure then. So I think Tyrone William Griffin Jr. is Ty dollar sign. So I am the last character of his. So I don't know if you just want like the dollar sign as the answer, or if like,
it's possible that it could be a dollar sign.
yeah, like that. Because I'm pretty sure that that's Ty dollar sign that's his name. Because I know Ty dollar sign's name is Tyrone, and that's around the right time for him to. I don't toot it and boot it. It's not doing me anything, but but that's around the right time for him to have debuted. And so I'm trying to think, like 3-character long stage name. And the last character of his 3. So like, I mean, I think his stage name is Ty dollar, and then it's like the dollar sign IGN. I think he uses the dollar sign as the S in the word sign. So the last character of his 3-character long Ty, it's Dalla, Dolla too. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna submit the dollar sign as my answer and
Mhm.
go for the 10 points or get a 0. But let's see what clue 2 is.
All right, so we've locked in your answer of dollar sign, but I'm going to go ahead and read through the rest of the clues for those listening if they want to play along. Clue 2: when trying to copy and paste a formula in Excel without changing references, you must use me before the column letter, row number, or both. All right, clue 3: I am the symbol that is made on a typical computer board or computer keyboard when you press Shift
All
and
right.
O.
So now I know I'm right. I didn't know the Excel part. That again, my lack of Excel knowledge shows, but now I know over the 4 is the dollar sign. So now I'm fairly certain that that is correct.
All right, I'm gonna keep going for those listening.
Yeah, sure.
So, clue 4: after rehab for an eating disorder, the Die Young artist switched to using her birth name rather than her previous moniker. In this change, she simply replaced me to a letter.
So that's got to be Kesha.
And clue 5: I'm used to reference American Money. I look like an S with 1 or 2 lines through the top to bottom. And that is,
I hope everybody that didn't submit before number 5 at least got the 2 points.
yes, I really hope so. I
Yeah.
describe it in detail. I always try to make clue 5 as clear as possible. Sometimes, like if it's a word, I'll give you the first and last letter.
Yeah.
I try my
I was the first president of the United States, and my name rhymes with Porge Joshington. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. But yeah, for those of you who are listening, it is a dollar sign. Ty Dolla Sign has a couple of ways to write out his moniker. So he's
Okay.
well, the tie with the dollar and then the sign, like the S changed to a sign.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but he's I think also used the like TY with the dollar sign too.
Yeah.
All right, so now we are in round 7, and this question, or sorry, there is only one question this round, but 10 answers. And in this one, order does not matter. So I don't care
Okay.
what you give me your answers in, as long as you give me all the answers. All right, this one is actually, you know what? I'm gonna change this one because I want to give you one that I know you'll love because I know you'll nail it. All right, so this is the trivia question actually from my most recent trivia that I just did. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up. All right, you might have sort of seen a little bit, but
It doesn't matter. I would know this no matter what you showed me.
uh, so you mentioned loving baseball, so I got to give you some baseball questions. So this is the last 10 MLB champions. So this is but these are the unique champions. So these are the
Sure.
10.
So if somebody's won multiple championships, they do not count.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're not listed twice. So you have to go
yeah.
deeper into the list. Yep. So what were the last 10 teams to win the MLB championship? Again, we're just going with the unique teams. I typically give about 8 minutes for this.
Well, we're not going to
So
take 8 minutes to do this, but so last year you have the Dodgers won the championship over the Yankees. So you have the Dodgers in 2024. In 2023, you had the Texas Rangers won their first championship over the Diamondbacks. In 2022, the Houston Astros beat the Phillies in the World Series. 2021, I was at that World Series in Atlanta. The Braves beat the Astros in that one. 2020 was the Dodgers again during the pandemic, so they will not count. 2019, the Washington Nationals, which is basically your hometown team now, won their only World Series in franchise history. That was over the Astros, the road team winning every game in that series, which I think is maybe the only time that that's ever happened. 2018, the Red Sox beat the Dodgers. 2017, I think that was Big Poppy's last year. 2017 was again the Astros. That was the big cheating scandal year over the Dodgers, so they won't count because they won in 2022. So we got to go to 2016, which sadly was the Chicago Cubs, most evil franchise to ever exist. 2015 was the Kansas City Royals. So let's see, we have the Dodgers, Rangers, Astros is 3, Braves is 4, Nationals is 5, Red Sox is 6, Cubs is 7, Royals is 8. So we have to go to 2014, which was the Giants over the Royals. 2013, I was at that world. I was actually at the 2016 World Series too. I was also at the 2013 World Series, which was the Red Sox again over the Cardinals. 2012 was the Giants again. This time it was over the Tigers. 2011, maybe the greatest World Series ever played. That would be our 10th team, and that would be the St. Louis Cardinals over the Texas Rangers. So my answers are the Dodgers, the Rangers, the Astros, the Braves, the Nationals, the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Royals, and the Cardinals, or the Giants and the Cardinals, I guess, because
you absolutely nailed it. That was a perfect round.
yeah.
Yeah, you got all of them, and you even named the years, which is also impressive. I didn't ask for that, so
Yeah, I mean, the World Series, like baseball's kind of my thing. So
now I know
that's
next
gonna
time I
be.
gotta ask you who the runner-ups are to add a level of difficulty. You'll
I could
probably
do
say
that. I could do that too, and I could probably go back at least 50 years without missing one. So,
that's so
yeah,
impressive. Yeah,
it's that's something I spend an inordinate amount of time on.
I love that. Well, that was my trivia, and I, at this point, will say thanks for joining us tonight. Monday nights are pretty much my favorite night because of trivia, and I think that still is true.
All right. Well, if you're ever out in the Arlington, Virginia area, you should definitely on a Monday night go see Shreya and get your ray of sunshine with Shreya Sunshine Trivia. And it's a beautiful place. It's on the waterfront, great food, a lot of good drinks. I talked to some of the people that work there, were real friendly people. Like I said, I ate there twice. I was there for, 3 nights over a weekend, and I really enjoyed it. So, hey, thanks for doing this, Shreya. Appreciate it. This is going to drop tomorrow on July 14th. So you can tell your folks tomorrow at trivia. They can listen to you on the Quizzing in America podcast. And everybody out there, happy quizzing. Good luck wherever you're playing. Be well. And do you have anything that you want to say at the end here?
I mean, other than, everyone is welcome at trivia. I think that if you are going to a good trivia, then every single person's gonna feel like they know something at that trivia, and you're all you all know things, and everyone's knowledge is special and is honored. So you guys are all awesome, and I'm so excited to see more people at trivia from this podcast. So
Agreed. I hope some more people come out there that listen to it, and I hope some of your regular players listen to it. So, very good. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Take care. Bye.
have a good night. Thanks.